Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something fascinating, a real shift in how people think about wellness.
Hmm.
We're diving into the global sports nutrition market.
Right.
It used to be just for elite athletes, right?
Exactly. Very niche corner.
But now it's everywhere, it's mainstream. So our mission today is to dig into some really solid sales data, look at those compound annual growth rates,
The Cree GRs.
tracking the journey from 2021, projecting all the way out to 2033. This is based on insights from cognitive market research.
Yeah, that's right.
We want to unpack these numbers, understand the trends, but also kind of the human story behind it, all the changing health habits.
Definitely.
Okay, let's unpack this.
And, well, when you talk about exploding, the numbers really do back that up. Globally, let's see. The market pulled in just over $41 billion in sales back in 2021.
41 billion. Okay.
But the projection for 2033, it's huge, almost $95 billion.
Oh, nearly 95.
Yeah, which works out to an overall compound annual growth rate, that's CAGR,
Yeah.
of 7.242%.
So over 7% year on year averaged out.
Exactly. It really shows this sustained and even accelerating growth.
Nearly doubling in, what, 12 years? That's pretty remarkable. So what are the main things pushing this? Is it just like more people going to the gym? Or is there more to it?
Oh, it's definitely more than just gyms, although that's part of it. The primary drivers are broader. First, there's just this massive increase in health awareness globally. People care more about what they eat, how they feel.
Right. Wellness is a bigger focus.
Precisely. And secondly, sports supplements are, well, they're not just seen as performance boosters anymore. They're becoming part of a general healthy diet for lots of people.
Ah, okay. So moving beyond the hardcore athlete.
Exactly. It's about everyday vitality, general wellness. It's a lifestyle shift that makes these products way more accessible and, desirable to a much wider audience.
That mainstreaming idea is key then. Okay, so let's move beyond the global overview. Can we zoom into some specific regions? Where should we start?
Let's kick off with North America. It's a major market, obviously. Generated $10.551 billion back in 2021.
Okay, 10.5 billion.
And the forecast, more than double by 2033. It's expected to hit $22.61 billion. That's a solid CAGR of 6.558%.
6.5% growth. Still strong, even for a market that feels quite developed already.
Right. The consistency is interesting.
And are there like different stories within North America? How does it break down by country?
Yeah, definitely. So the U.S. is, unsurprisingly, the powerhouse. It accounted for, let's see, $8.968 billion in 2021.
The lion's share.
Absolutely. And it's projected to grow to almost $19 billion by 2033. That's a 6.443% CAGR.
Okay.
But what's interesting is while the U.S. market is huge, Canada and Mexico actually show faster growth rates.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Canada started at $0.855 billion in 2021, but it's projected to hit over $2 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of 7.512%.
Higher than the U.S. rate.
And Mexico, too. It was $0.728 billion in 2021, climbing to nearly $1.6 billion by 2033. That's a 6.767% CAGR.
So still really strong growth potential in Canada and Mexico, maybe catching up a bit.
Could be. It suggests, maybe faster adoption of health trends, rising incomes, making these products more affordable.
Yeah.
Definitely key areas to watch.
Fascinating. Okay, let's cross the Atlantic. What about Europe? What's the picture there?
Europe's another big one. It accounted for nearly $8 billion in 2021, $7.964 billion to be precise.
Right.
And it's expected to reach over $17.2 billion by 2033. The overall CGR for Europe is 6.737%.
Pretty similar growth rate to North America overall.
Very similar, yeah. But what's really striking in Europe is the diversity across countries.
How so?
Well, you've got places like the UK and Spain. Both started strong, around $1.26 billion and $0.62 billion respectively in 2021.
Okay.
And both are projected to more than double, with KRs over 7%. The UK at 7.043%, Spain slightly higher at 7.055%.
Strong growth there.
Then you have Germany, which is even stronger. It started bigger at $1.7 billion and is growing faster at nearly 7.4% CAGR, projected to hit almost $4 billion.
Germany's really powering ahead then.
It seems so. But then contrast that with, say, Russia. Much more modest growth there. Started at about $319 million, projected to reach $545 million, with a KGR of only 4.6%.
Ah, okay. A real difference.
Exactly. And you see variations elsewhere, too. France around 6.2%, Italy 6.4%, Sweden nearly 7%, Denmark 6.4%, Switzerland just under 6%, Luxembourg also just under 6%. The rest of Europe collectively is around 6.7%. It's a real mix.
Yeah, that shows how different the markets are, even within one continent. Different economies, maybe different regulations or tastes.
Precisely.
Okay, now you mentioned accelerating growth earlier. Here's where it gets really interesting, right? Asia Pacific.
Yeah,
The data points to this being the fastest growing region.
that's absolutely right. Asia Pacific is, well, it's the engine room for growth in this market.
Okay, lay the numbers on us.
Get this. It started at $16.175 billion in 2021.
Already bigger than North America back then.
Already bigger. And by 2033, it's projected to hit a staggering $39.9995 billion. Almost $40 billion.
Wow, that's enormous.
It is. And the CAGR reflects that it's registering a high 7.846% average annual growth.
Nearly 8%. What's driving that incredible expansion?
It's a combination of factors. You've got rapidly growing young urban populations really embracing fitness culture.
Right.
You've got rising disposable incomes, so people can actually afford to spend on health and wellness.
Makes sense.
And there's also a growing local manufacturing base, which makes these products more available and often cheaper.
A perfect storm for growth, really. So, drilling down within APAC, which countries are the standouts?
Well, China is a huge player, of course. It was already $4.788 billion in 2021,
Okay.
and it's set to grow to over $12 billion by 2033. That's a strong CAGR of 8.048%.
Over 8%. Very strong.
But then there's India. India's just exceptional growth.
Yeah. Tell me more.
It started at $2.248 billion in 2021. By 2033, it's projected to hit $6.119 billion.
Almost tripling.
Almost tripling. And the CAGR is the highest in the region, an amazing 8.714%.
Wow, 8.7%. That is phenomenal growth.
It really is.
Yeah.
And we also see really impressive figures from Southeast Asia as a whole block, growing at 8.3% annually. Singapore is another standout, 8.1% CAGR.
So Southeast Asia and Singapore are right up there too.
Absolutely. Japan is growing steadily too, around 7.1%. South Korea, 7.1%. Australia, a bit slower at 6.8%, but still solid. Taiwan, 7.4%. The rest of APAC, collectively about 7.7%.
Yeah.
But yeah, China, India, Southeast Asia, Singapore, they're really leading that charge.
Incredible. You can really see why APAC is tagged as the fastest growing. That potential seems massive. Okay, let's shift continents again. What about South America? Are we seeing similar kinds of growth patterns there?
South America is definitely showing very healthy growth, yeah. It echoes some of the drivers we saw in Asia Pacific, actually.
Okay.
The market size was $2.422 billion in 2021.
Right.
And it's projected to climb to $5.816 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of 7.557%.
7.5%. Also very strong. So rising middle class,
Use it.
health awareness again.
Exactly. Plus the influence of global fitness trends really taking hold.
And within South America, who's leading the pack? Is it mainly Brazil?
Brazil is the biggest market, yes. It was $0.93 billion in 2021 and is set to grow to $2.2 billion by 2033. That's a 7.4% CAGR.
Still very solid.
But look at Argentina. It's actually growing even faster. It started smaller, about $500 million in 2021.
Okay.
But it's projected to hit nearly $1.3 billion with an impressive 8.017% CAGR.
Wow, Argentina over 8%. That's up there with China and Singapore.
It is indeed. And others are doing well too. Chile is growing at 7.7%, Peru at 7.3%, Colombia is a bit lower at 6.7%, but still decent. The rest of South America collectively is around 7.7%.
So a really dynamic region with significant expansion across the board.
Definitely.
Well-
Seems ripe for continued growth as incomes rise and habits shift.
Okay, 2 more regions to cover. Let's look at the Middle East. What's the story there?
The Middle East market was valued at $2.176 billion in 2021.
Right.
And it's expected to grow to $5.146 billion by 2033. That gives it a CGR of 7.422%.
Another region above that 7% mark. What are the specific drivers there? Is it similar again?
Similar, but with maybe a couple of extra factors. You have a generally youthful population in many countries, which tends to adopt fitness trends readily.
Ah, demographics play a role.
Yes. And in some places, government initiatives actively promoting healthier lifestyles and sports participation can also be a factor.
Interesting. Which countries are seeing the fastest growth?
Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and the UAE are all showing really strong growth. Saudi Arabia is at 7.5% TAGR. Turkey's even higher at 7.75%.
Okay.
And the UAE stands out again with a projected CAGR of 8.04%. Right up there with the fastest growers globally.
The UAE at over 8%. That's significant. High disposable incomes helping there too, perhaps.
Very likely. High incomes, strong interest in health and fitness, plus often quite modern retail setups making products easy to get. Egypt is growing at nearly 7%, Qatar just over 7%. The rest of the Middle East is a bit slower, around 6.5%.
Got it. So a strong region overall, led by a few particularly fast-growing countries. Okay, last stop on our world tour, Africa. What's the picture for sports nutrition there?
Africa, while starting from a smaller base, is definitely part of this growth story. The market was $1.765 billion in 2021,
Okay, just under $1.8 billion.
and it's projected to reach $4.143 billion by 2033. That represents a solid CAGR of 6.897%.
Nearly 7% growth. That's still very substantial, especially given the starting point.
Well,
What's fueling that?
key factors include increasing urbanization, rising health consciousness spreading partly through digital channels, easier access to information about wellness.
Right, the digital spread of trends, and which countries are leading the growth in Africa?
South Africa is a major player. It accounted for $0.72 billion in 2021, so a good chunk of the total.
Okay.
And it's projected to grow strongly, reaching almost $1.8 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of nearly 7.5%.
South Africa showing strong growth. Anyone else notable?
Nigeria is also expanding significantly. It started at about $309 million and is projected to hit $744 million, growing at over 7.1% annually.
Good growth in Nigeria, too.
Yeah. The rest of Africa category is growing a bit more slowly, around 6.1%. But the overall trend points to these emerging consumer markets having huge long-term potential as economies grow and health becomes, well, a bigger priority for more people.
We've covered a huge amount of ground, region by region. Incredible detail in that data, so let's try and pull it all together. What does this all mean? If you're trying to grasp the big picture of the global sports nutrition market, what are the main takeaways?
Well, I think the clearest takeaway is just how consistently strong the growth is pretty much everywhere. This market isn't just ticking along. It's genuinely thriving and, in many places, accelerating.
Especially those emerging regions.
Exactly. Asia-Pacific and South America, as we saw, are posting some really high carries. But even the more mature markets like North America and Europe are showing robust expansion.
Right.
And it all seems to tie back to those core drivers.
Mm.
More health awareness, rising incomes, and just the general popularity of being active and wanting to support that lifestyle.
So it's a fundamental shift, not just a fad.
It really looks that way. The data suggests each region has its own nuances, its own opportunities, maybe challenges too, but the overall message is one of significant ongoing growth with plenty of room left for, innovation and further expansion. It's moving from niche to necessity for many.
That's a great summary. It really puts those impressive numbers into perspective. Well, thank you for joining us on this really comprehensive deep dive into the global sports nutrition market.
My pleasure.
The numbers, as you said, clearly show massive growth, and that shift from a niche product to a mainstream, everyday staple is undeniable. So as you, our listener, think about these trends, here's something to mull over. How might this continued weaving of sports nutrition into daily life reshape our basic understanding of wellness and performance in the coming years? And, thinking ahead, what kinds of new innovations might pop up to meet these evolving, increasingly mainstream needs? We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive. Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're really getting into the sports nutrition market. It's a fascinating space.
It really is.
It's just exploded beyond that sort of original niche, hasn't it? Phenomenal growth.
Mm-hmm.
So our goal here is to unpack what's driving that, the expansion, but also the hurdles, what challenges it's facing,
Right.
and then look at the trends shaping what's next. We've got some interesting insights.
Yeah.
You might actually be surprised just how much this market has changed. It's not just for the pros anymore, far from it.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? What's so striking is how pervasive it's become.
Pervasive, yeah.
It's really influencing wider consumer health now, and just this general focus on wellness everywhere.
Okay.
Understanding these shifts is, I think, pretty crucial if you want to grasp where health and fitness generally are heading.
I agree. So, okay, let's unpack those core forces. What's fueling this expansion? We all see wellness is, mainstream now. But how does that specifically translate into people buying sports nutrition? Are we seeing completely new groups jumping in, or is it just the usual suspects buying more?
That's a great question, because this global health focus has definitely broadened the base significantly.
Okay.
It's not just about, hardcore gym sessions anymore. This wellness mindset, it's really interesting. It's driven by things like, well, better access to health info online,
Yeah.
people thinking more about preventative health, and even just like active lifestyles becoming normal on platforms like TikTok.
Ah, Yeah.
So that cultural shift, it's turned things like protein shakes and energy bars from, niche items
Yeah.
into everyday things for casual gym goers, wellness enthusiasts, regular people.
That's a really powerful shift. And I guess that ties into the next driver, right? The sheer number of gyms and fitness places opening up.
Exactly.
It's not just more places to sweat, though, is it? What's the connection to product demand?
Yeah, it's more than that.
Yeah.
This proliferation of fitness spots, boutique studios, big health clubs, everything.
Hmm.
It doesn't just mean more members. It creates new habits, new consumption patterns, pre-workout, post-workout routines.
Right. The ritual.
Exactly. Think about it. Every new person joining a gym is potentially buying products for recovery, endurance, energy,
Especially busy people trying to fit it all in.
especially them, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to balance work schedules with fitness goals. So it directly boosts demand for, the supporting stuff.
Got it. So the whole fitness ecosystem is kind of evolving together.
Hmm.
And speaking of conscious choices, that takes us nicely into another big driver, this push for plant-based and clean label sports nutrition.
Yes, that's huge.
What exactly does clean label mean here, and how's that really changing the industry?
So clean label basically means products with fewer ingredients, things you recognize.
Okay.
Often free from artificial stuff, allergens. And this trend, it isn't just like meeting a demand that was already there, it's actively driving innovation.
Right.
Consumers are reading labels more carefully than ever. They're looking for vegan options, allergen-free. So brands are responding. They're developing proteins from, sustainable sources like pea, hemp, brown rice.
Interesting.
If you connect the dots, you see this kind of feedback loop, right? Constantly innovating, expanding the market. It's quite dynamic.
Okay, that makes sense. But, with any market growing this fast, there are bound to be some bumps in the road.
Always.
So, what are the key hurdles here? What's slowing things down potentially? Our sources often point to cost first, the price tag.
Yeah, the cost barrier is definitely real. It impacts how deeply the market can penetrate.
How so?
Well, these are often premium products, right? So they can be out of reach for people watching their budget, especially maybe in developing economies.
Okay.
And it's not just the ingredients, it's marketing, branding costs. It all adds up. So it can be tough for, say, younger consumers or those with less disposable income.
But hang on, couldn't you argue the premium price sometimes signals quality, especially in a market where people might be a bit wary?
That's a fair point. That perception exists. But it kind of bumps up against the second big barrier,
Right.
the regulations.
Oh, right. The rules.
Exactly. Sports nutrition brands face really tough standards for labeling, for the health claims they make,
Mm.
and that adds a lot of complexity, a lot of cost. It's especially hard for smaller companies trying to get a foothold.
And one wrong step could be disastrous.
Totally. A recall, or just losing that consumer trust.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to get back.
And trust is everything when you're talking about health products people put in their bodies. I remember reading about some supplement scandals a while back.
Yeah.
It really showed how fragile that trust can be. How do brands, especially the newer ones, deal with that history, that kind of underlying wariness?
Precisely. Which brings us neatly to the third challenge, consumer skepticism and misinformation.
Okay.
Even with all the growing interest we talked about, a lot of consumers are still cautious. They worry about synthetic additives, maybe exaggerated benefits, or even banned substances potentially ending up in products.
Right, you hear stories.
You do. And social media.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit of a double-edged sword here.
How so?
It's great for spreading awareness, finding new products, sure. But it also amplifies misinformation like wildfire, unverified claims,
Mhm.
hype,
Yeah, it gets confusing fast.
especially for first-time users trying to figure out what's real and what's just noise.
Mm-hmm.
So it really begs the question, how do brands cut through that? How do they build trust and ensure safety?
That's a massive challenge, no doubt. Okay, so let's shift gears and look forward. What are the really exciting trends? What's shaping the future here? One thing that keeps coming up is personalized nutrition. Brands tailoring things to individuals' goals, age, body type. How is this really different from what came before?
Well, it's a fundamental shift, really.
Hmm.
Personalized nutrition has huge implications for how engaged consumers feel and also how well the products actually work. It goes way beyond just one size fits all.
Okay.
Think about it. Formulations tailored with things like adaptogens, those natural compounds helping with stress,
Right.
electrolytes for hydration, maybe even nootropics for focus, all designed very specifically for focus, recovery, endurance. It's about precision.
That is a fascinating evolution. And it's not just the product itself changing, right? Digital platforms seem to be playing a huge role now, too.
Oh, absolutely.
It feels like how people buy this stuff is becoming just as important as what they buy.
You nailed it. E-commerce, fitness apps, influencer marketing,
Mm.
they're massively fueling discovery and sales.
Mm.
People rely heavily on online reviews now, recommendations from coaches they follow online, convenient subscription boxes.
Right, the whole digital ecosystem.
Yeah, that digital engagement is a huge growth lever for the industry.
Yeah.
It's blurring the lines between getting information, being part of a community, and actually buying things.
And the final piece, it seems, is that sports nutrition is really breaking out of that sort of athlete-only bubble. We're seeing it everywhere now, mainstream retail, lifestyle segments. What does that look like on the ground?
Well, a lot of it is down to innovation in the product formats themselves. Things like ready-to-drink shakes that are just easy to grab,
Convenient, yeah.
gummies that taste good, functional snack bars.
Yeah.
These make sophisticated nutrition much more accessible, much more appealing to, a regular person.
So you find them in supermarkets now, pharmacies?
Supermarkets, pharmacies, even convenience stores sometimes. What's really striking is how all these trends we've discussed, personalization, digital, mainstream formats, are kind of converging.
Okay.
They're making sports nutrition more accessible, more tailored, and reaching a much broader audience than ever before. It's becoming part of everyday wellness for many.
So we've covered a lot of ground today. A real deep dive into the sports nutrition market, the incredible growth, the challenges, those exciting future trends. It's clearly such a dynamic area full of opportunity, innovation, and just rapidly changing consumer needs. So what does all this mean for you, the listener, and just the evolving world of health and fitness?
Yeah, I think this raises a really important question for all of us, doesn't it? As sports nutrition gets more mainstream, more personalized,
Right.
how do we as consumers keep assessing what actually works, what matters for our individual health goals, especially with so much choice, so many claims flying around?
That critical thinking piece.
Exactly. It's really about being an informed participant in this, increasingly crowded and quite sophisticated wellness landscape.
A perfect thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
And thank you for listening. Until next time, stay curious.